Hi, welcome to Immigration and You. My name is Alan Kaye, and with me here is my colleague Michael Piston. I've got over 35 years experience practicing immigration, naturalization, visa, and consular law, and Michael has about 25 years experience. So we're going to start off this program by talking about removal proceedings, which is the new word for deportation proceedings. And what I want to ask Michael is, what are the do's and don'ts for removal proceeding? A client comes to you and he says, Mr. Piston, I'm in removal proceedings. How can you help me? What can we do? Now, we don't have a lot of time to answer, but how would you approach kind of do's and don'ts? What people should know about removal proceedings?
Well, the biggest don't is don't fail to appear. And unfortunately, that happens to be the biggest problem, because we can always do something for you if you're still in proceedings, but if you've just simply failed to show up because you're scared or your friend told you to be deported or something like that, then that's just going to, in most cases, put your situation almost but not quite into the hopeless category. So don't, number one, don't fail to appear. Number two is don't fail to retain legal counsel, because much of immigration law can be done oneself, but deportation proceedings absolutely cannot. This has been called the most complex area of the law next to tax law by a number of federal judges. So this is something that you're absolutely going to have legal representation for. I recognize that can be expensive for some people, but the question is, how much is it worth it to you to remain in the United States? If you count that against the cost of retaining legal counsel, it should be fairly easy to come to a conclusion. The next thing to bear in mind is that in speaking with your attorney, you really have to be absolutely candid. Of course, there's a right of confidentiality in attorney-client relationships, and you really have to tell him everything which is of possible significance to your case. Because the worst thing that can happen if you're representing a client in removal proceedings is to be surprised by something that you learn from the government rather than from your client. And at the very least, it can cause confusion and problems. At the worst, it can undermine your credibility, because your attorney is going to be developing a strategy based upon what you tell him. And if it turns out you haven't told him the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, you could be ended up being blamed for being less than candid with the court based upon what is written. Another thing to bear in mind is to carefully review anything which your attorney asks you to sign. One of the biggest problems that we run into is people who claim that papers which were written in their name and signed by them contain information which is inaccurate. The fact that somebody else has prepared this document is not an excuse for you not knowing what is in it, and for what being in it not being true. Thank you.
For anybody would like more information about the subject of removal proceedings, please contact me or contact Michael at the email listed below. Thank you.